Shalom. Apostle Har coming back at you with this truth, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakah Kodash. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video, Is Jonathan Edwards Burning in Hell? Yeah, Jonathan Edwards, you can do the research on him. Jonathan Edwards was a Christian leader, a Calvinist. Let me just I got this page up, but I want to bring up another page dealing with this guy, Jonathan Edwards. Yeah, anytime you confront vocab no class Malone, always bring up Jonathan Edwards and always ask him the question if he's burning in hell or not. Okay, I'm gonna give you the quick history of this guy. All right, Jonathan Edwards, American preacher. Jonathan Edwards was an American revivalist preacher, philosopher, and Congregationalist Protestant theologian. Like most of the Puritans, he held to the Reformed theology. So he would be within the same circle as a Calvinist or a Calvinist Protestant. Anyway, this was a while back. I found an article where it said that he was having sex with a 14-year-old girl named Venus, which was one of his slaves. So now I went back and put his name up in a Google search, and it does tell you that he had a 14-year-old girl named Venus who was a slave, and he also had a 14-year-old boy, a young boy who was also a slave, and he owned slaves, and that's a known fact, commonly known fact if you do the research on him. But like I said, they somehow took out the fact that he had sex with this woman. Anyway, let me go to okay, this right here is from and I'll put the link in the description box. It's https slavery Princeton edu or slavery.princeton.edu /stories/Jonathan Edwards. It says Edwards and slavery. And like I said, you know, when you confront vocab Malone, always bring up Jonathan Edwards and ask him whether Jonathan Edwards is burning in hell right now. And see how fast this guy runs. Anyway, it says, while Edwards saved souls, he saved white souls. He didn't believe that so-called blacks would be saved. If he did, he wouldn't enslave them. He also established a household of his own. He and his wife Sarah had 11 children. Oh, these Edomites too. Another thing that they do, they take on biblical names. Like his birth family, Edwards maintained a large household, in part through the labor of enslaved people. So he had a bunch of children. He had 11 children, and he had a big house, a plantation, if you will, and he had slaves. It said, let me read that again. Edwards. It says 11. He had one wife and 11 children. Right. It says Edwards maintained the large household in part through the labor of enslaved people, so-called black people, Negroes. In 1731, Edwards visited Newport, Rhode Island, where he purchased Venus. Like I said, if you go, I looked this up several months ago, maybe a year ago or more, and it was definitely an article on the fact that he had purchased a slave girl named Venus, and he was having sexual relations with that young girl, meaning he was raping that young girl. Okay, it says where he purchased Venus, a Negro girl, an Israelite, estimated to be 14 years old. Records also indicate that Edwards owned a Negro boy. Now, was he having sex? Was he a homosexual? Was he having sex with that little Negro boy? Titus. Here goes another biblical name. And a second female slave named Leah. So he was getting around, boy. He was putting in work. Now, like I said, it doesn't say that in this particular article right here, but I remember reading the fact that he was having sexual relations with that young girl, Venus. But it says he also purchased a young boy, and Edomite men were into that, man. They were into having sex with their little boy slaves and their little girl slaves. Anyway, it says records also indicate that Edwards owned a Negro boy, Titus, and a second female slave named Leah. Although historians are uncertain as to whether the family simply gave Venus a biblical name, in 1740, Edwards and his wife co-signed a legal. Well, she was a partner in crime with this guy. All right. So, I mean, is she burning in hell too? Is Sarah burning in hell? It says in 1740, Edwards and his wife co-signed a legal guarantee of financial support for two slaves freed in the will of Sarah, Edwards' stepmother. So you had Edwards' wife's stepmother, say, well, take care of these slaves. For New Englanders, of their elite status, the Edwards participation in the slave trade and slave ownership was exceptional. One scholar notes the British colonists like Edwards often justified slavery as an extension of long accepted practices of servitude and dependency, such as the dependent status of wives, children, and indentured servants. Such relationships for slave ownership were convenient. So he justified the fact that he had slaves. Considering that the economy of New England depended heavily on its link to the Atlantic slave trade. So this guy owned slaves, and like I said, he had a slave girl that they said that they believed her to be 14 years old, because they really didn't give a damn about the age of the kid. They have records of birthdays of a slave. The slave master didn't say, okay, it's Venus's birthday, we're gonna have a birthday party. She ain't gonna get whipped that day, but I'm gonna have sex with her later tonight. Anyway, let me go into a couple of scriptures. And the reason why I put this thing together is because there was a video put up by GMS Dallas, and they were going into a vocab, and we're gonna come after you, get vocab in the spirit. In other words, anytime you have a live show, we're gonna be on there, and we're gonna ask you about this great Calvinist, this great Protestant, Jonathan Edwards, and whether he's burned, because he's long dead, and whether he and his wife are burning in hell because you believe there's such a thing called hell. Anyway, let me go to a couple of scriptures. Now, if you bring these scriptures out to vocab, he'll switch them around. Oh, that was talking about that time. That dude is like a mouse, a little scared mouse that runs all over the place. Anyway, but we got the cheese for your ass. Anyway, let me go to I believe it's Exodus 21, if I'm not mistaken. So let's find out. Okay, this is a law. It says, Exodus 21, verse 16, and he that stealeth a man, and that's what you did through the transatlantic slavery, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, that's slavery. You steal a man. What they did was they would steal slaves in bulk and bring them over to the Americas. And then they would have auctions, and you would have your plantation owners come down, and they would look at the slaves, and they might need a strong buck, so they'll say, okay, I'm gonna bid on that buck right there. And he might have his wife and his children, but another slave, hey man, when the kingdom comes, in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, you Edomites, you're going to catch hell from day one of the kingdom till the day we gather you together and get rid of you. We're going to put total hell on you. We're going to put, like King Marshall said years ago. He said that they were speaking in Rockefeller Center. That's when they were crazy. And I spoke at Rockefeller Center, man. And them Edomites, they get nervous, man. And he said we went into slavery, you going into slavery, and Marshall said, we call him Mo. He said, I got one question for you. Are you gonna be able to take it? And I remember that, man. And that's before I came to the truth. It was cassette. I think it was like, it had to be 83, 82. And yeah, man. Anyway, the question is, are you going to be able to take it? Well, you're going to have to take it. You're going to have to take it. The truth of the matter is that your future, you Edomites and the rest of you nations, but the other nations, you're not going to catch it as bad as the Edomites, man. You Edomites, you're going to really catch it. You're going to really catch it. Okay? Anyway, it says, and he that stealeth a man, and that's what you Edomites did, and selleth him. That's why vocab said, oh, the Edomites were done away with. But he has yet to give us the date and the place, because he doesn't have the answers. It says, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hands, and we are found in your hands in America and around the world, we are still in your hand, meaning power. We're under you. He shall surely be put to death. Next scripture. Yeah, let's go to Revelation. Revelation 13, 9 and 10. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Who are the saints? The saints are Israelites. So we're patiently waiting until the Most High delivers us and destroys these other nations and allow us to put them into captivity. Here's another scripture. And for you guys out there in GMS that are not doing videos and you just got your hands in your pocket, the Most High is going to get rid of you. Isaiah 14 and 1 and 2. It says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. So we know that this didn't happen yet because the two kingdoms did not come together, or they're coming together, but they got to come together first, and then they got to be taken back to their land by the power of the Most High, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And the strangers shall be joined with them. The strangers are talking about other Israelites that wake up to the fact that they're Israelites. And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Another name for the house of Jacob is the nation as a whole, the nation of Israel, when Israel come back together. Second verse, Isaiah 14 verse 2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place in the house of Israel, which is no longer Jacob, but Israel, which the two kingdoms are going to come together, which make up the 12 tribes of Israel. It says, in the house of Israel, the 12 tribes shall possess them in the land of the Lord. Possess means to own. For servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Who's oppressing us right now? You Edomites. I'll give you another scripture. Isaiah, I believe it's 24. We'll find out. This whole chapter is good, but I'm going to go right to the 18th verse. And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. So the ones of you that escape this, because some of you are going to escape this destruction, mainly the elite. It says, for the windows from on high are open, and the foundation of the earth do shake, and the foundation of the earth will shake by way of these missiles being pelted on this planet. That's your World War III. That's your War of Armageddon. The earth is utterly broken down, and the earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. So this is going to be the only time that the earth is going to the whole earth is going to quake. It says the earth shall reel to and fro. And when this is happening, we're going to be in these ships, the chariots of Israel, and we're going to be watching your destruction, your demise. Esau and the other nation and the 2/3 of Israel. Because anybody that's teaching anything outside of what we're teaching, that were the Israelites, whether it be Kemet, Moors, Islam, whatever you're teaching, Baptist, Methodist, whatever you're teaching, whatever you're a part of, if you're following that demon of vocab Malone, you will taste that fire. And we're going to praise the Most High that you're going to be tasting that fire and eating that fire. You're going to be eating the fire of the missiles. Real talk. 20th verse. The earth shall, and let me say this, man. Let me just say this. I don't give a good goddamn about you 2/3. Okay? If the Most High get you, so be it, man. I'm going to praise Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua when he gets you 2/3. Because you're wicked, man. It said the earth shall reel to and fro. And this is going to be, this is going to actually happen. This is actually going to happen. Any of you Israelites out there that came into this fold, came into this truth and went out on the highways and the byways and you went back into the world, guess what? You're going to be eating that fire. You and your family, you're going to be eating that fire. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. So when America's taken out, because this clown, this complete buffoon, DJ Trump, he's not going to make America great again. Well, he'll make America great. You know how he's going to make America great? America's going to have a